Who is the worst villain in One Piece? If you ask me, I'd have to go with Don Krieg. He's arrogant, turns on his allies in the blink of an eye, would betray anyone that helps him, and literally everyone thinks that he's the strongest pirate in the area to the point of assuming that no one can beat him. Krieg has a massive crew, powerful weapons, and beats his own crew members because they go against what he wants. On top of that, he can't even win a fair fight. Oh wait, that sounds like Kaido with fewer steps.
Know your place, trash.
Hello Internet, Jojo here, and welcome to IdeaShock. I just have to say it. I don't get it. Ever since his debut in the series, everyone seems to have instantaneously developed a fetish for Kaido. It just makes no sense to me. He's not really that unique. He just looks like Bluno if Bluno worked out a bit more and cosplayed as Conan the Barbarian. His devil fruit especially is not that interesting or unique. After all, One Piece has things like dinosaurs, sea kings, sky people, zombies, robots, these things, a literal Buddha, a phoenix, a mochi man, dragons, inanimate objects that can eat devil fruits, and country-destroying super weapons. Are you trying to tell me that Kaido, being a dragon, is justification for all the hype that he's had? Please. He has been defeated 7 times and captured 18 times. Imagine if any other character in the entire series was beaten that many times. They would just be considered a bad pirate. Seriously, the Straw Hats altogether don't have that poor of a record. And to top all that off, Kaido's only character trait, other than being a drunk and beating his kid, is the fact that he tries to off himself as a hobby. Seriously, that's it. His only character trait is attempted self-murder. And of course, that obviously brings up another question. If he wanted to actually kill himself, why didn't he just, I don't know, jump into the ocean? Does that work? Also, how did the Marines fail to kill him so many times when, seawater exists? A Marine with a seawater squirt gun would do more damage to Kaido than anything they did in their 40 failed execution attempts. They should have just drowned him. Heck, if they wanted to, they could have just had him drink a glass of seawater and then execute him. Or, even better, just have one of the admirals take him out. After all, they have advanced armament hockey, and that's the only tool that Luffy has now that can hurt Kaido. So, why did the Marines not do that? Had hockey not been discovered yet or something? Kaido has been caught and beaten in combat so many times that it kinda makes you think that he should actually be the weakest of all the emperors. The Marines didn't kill him so many times that, at this point, it would not surprise me if Kaido is actually working for the Marines. Also, I can't let this go. Why is he so unkillable? It's because he's run away from fights. Seriously, are you trying to tell me that of all the characters that Kaido has fought, Odin was the only one strong enough to hurt him? Are you telling me that Odin is stronger than Shanks, Whitebeard, Big Mom, Goldie, Roger, Garp, and Sengoku? I think not. And seriously, has Kaido never fought someone with advanced armament hockey? Kaido is basically the Buggy of the emperors. Sure, he's strong and certainly he's durable, but he's only on par with Big Mom in terms of power. Think about that. Literally, everyone tells us that in a one-on-one fight, Kaido will win, meaning that he should have dominated Big Mom when they fought. Yet, he didn't. And don't give me that, he wasn't going all out. They split the sky when they clashed, just like Shanks and Whitebeard. All this leads to the only possible option left. Kaido is not near the unbeatable monster that people think he is. Even in his introduction of jumping off the Sky Island, he got hurt. He specifically said that hurt his head. Are you telling me that all these people in the past he fought aren't as strong as someone falling off a building? Please. That's ridiculous. So, to hammer this point home, let's forget about hockey for a minute. Kinda like the Marines did. And let me ask you this. Who is more unkillable? Any Logia user or Kaido? I'm gonna go with the Logia user on that one. Also, not to mention that Kaido has been sitting around not getting into any major fights for years. He only gets the courage to go out and do anything after he knows that there will be another emperor there. He tried to go to Marineford with Shanks and Whitebeard, and is only now going after the One Piece now that he's teamed up with Big Mom. And let's not forget Yamato. If you got onto the One Piece Reddit once Yamato was introduced, you would have seen so many people saying that, as bad as Kaido is, at least he respects her male pronouns. Is Kaido really the person you want to put on the trans flag? I mean, he's basically a symbol of domestic violence. I don't think you want to put him anywhere near that, just because he might possibly use his child's preferred pronouns. He still is a violent abuser, and a drunk, so I don't think you want that flag anywhere near him. Also, does she identify as a man? No. Once and for all, Yamato does not identify as a man, she identifies as Kazuki Oden. There's a difference. Now, I'm not an expert in transgender psychology, but from what I can tell, being transgender is about becoming who you think you truly are. But Yamato is trying to become someone else entirely. She's trying to take Oden's identity because she respects him so much. That's not the same thing as being transgender. Now, let me ask you this. Why, of all things, would Kaido respect that? Oden is his enemy. When Yamato would tell Kaido that she wanted to be Oden, he would physically beat her. Is he supposed to have changed his mind about her pronouns after he beat his daughter? Please, that makes no sense. What I think is actually happening is that Kaido wanted a son to succeed him, but got a daughter. So he forced Yamato to grow up as a boy. He beat and trained Yamato until she gave up referring to herself as a girl. Picture this. Every time you refer to yourself as a certain gender or whatever, your parents or best friend beat you for it. How long would you keep referring to yourself as that gender? Especially if you don't know any better. And this isn't some ordinary beating. This is Kaido. And this started when Yamato was about 8. That is what I think Yamato is going through. Her father would beat her for not being born a man. Of course, that might be my headcanon, but it's far more plausible than Kaido beating her for wanting to be Oden, but still referring to her as his son because she wants to be Oden. Also, I'm not sure that Kaido would ever beat her for wanting to become Oden in the first place. That too does not make sense. A scolding, sure, but constant beatings, really? Kaido never had any major ill will towards Oden. Sure, they were enemies, but Kaido did not have near the hatred for Oden that Orochi did. And also, why would Kaido be so mad as to beat his only child, who he also wants to eventually take over Wano for him anyway? As I said repeatedly, it doesn't make sense. But, as I've said in this video, Kaido is inconsistent at best. And while we're on the topic of Yamato, for the record, if she does end up identifying as a man, and Luffy goes out of his ways to respect her pronouns or whatever, that is completely unacceptable. It would be so out of character for him. Luffy doesn't even call most people by their actual names. He calls Eustace Kid...
There should be a captain in there somewhere.
He calls Eustace Captain Kid Jaggy because of his hair. And you're telling me that Luffy is going to refer to someone who looks like Nami as a he. That would take more brain power than Luffy has to spare. And he doesn't have a whole lot to spare. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up calling Yamato Tomato. And I'd be fine with that, actually. Also, to top it all off, once Wano's borders are open, Yamato will no longer have to chase the dream that Oden was trying to realize. She will no longer have anything to aspire to, no reason to continue to want to be Oden. She will have to become someone else. Now, before some of you go commenting telling me how transphobic I am for not respecting her pronouns, just know that my personal rule of thumb is that if a character ripped off their shirt, would they be censored or would it show their full glory? If a character is censored in the way that one would censor a woman, then chances are I'm going to refer to them as female, regardless of what they claim to be. Of course, that is just a rule of thumb, as shows like Kill la Kill are slight, major deviations from that. Also, I'm not going to go out of my way to curb my language to make other people feel better about themselves. Hey, if you don't like it, then take it up with people who actually have the power, because if they decide to censor Yamato, then they themselves would be admitting that they don't think she's a man. And they're the ones doing it, so take it up with them. The most damning evidence that I see here is that if we were to swap Oden and Toki, Yamato would have been inspired by Lady Toki, and thus not be trans in any way. The only difference between those two scenarios is the gender of the character. The end result stays the same, thus gender is a non-factor in who Yamato is. It's completely coincidental. Also, if we can call Speedwagon the best girl of JoJo, then it's okay to refer to Yamato as the best girl of Wano. It's fine. Now that that's out of the way, I don't know why, but I really do like Yamato quite a bit. Her father Kaido is a waste of space garbage character, but Yamato, I like her quite a bit. Now, I can almost see some of you down in the comments going, but wait until he gets a flashback, you'll like him then. And that's a possibility. But I doubt it. A flashback is not intended to make a character more likable. A flashback is intended to show what they've been going through so that you can understand what they're doing now. If you don't like what Kaido's doing now, then a flashback ain't gonna help. Also, I didn't need a flashback to like Katakuri, Lucci, or Crocodile. Heck, even Whitebeard and Big Mom's flashback didn't change my opinion of them at all. So, no, I don't think I like Kaido even after his flashback, if he gets one. Now, what I actually think happened in regards to Kaido was that he was mentioned, rumored, talked about, and hyped for years. Oda made the fans hungry for Kaido, and when people are starving, they will devour any food that's given to them. That is what I think makes Kaido so great. Kaido is the piece of fruit given to someone who has spent several days starving. He is not the main course. He is not even something that would tide you over until the next meal. After being given the fruit, we were still hungry. So, when the time came, Oda fed us Odin, Hiyori, and Yamato. These characters are the feast that we didn't even know we wanted, but we got anyway. We were given a bland character, almost a carbon copy of Don Krieg, but we were given it after starving for it. For those of you who don't know how starvation works, if someone doesn't eat for several weeks, they can't just eat a full steak meal to break their fast, or they might actually die. For the person to start eating real food, they have to start out with things like tea and fruit, so that their digestive system can start to work again. That is what Kaido is for us, while Yamato and Odin are the actual feast. Kaido, not good, but incredibly important. Yamato is by far a better character than Kaido is. In a way, she's much like Rei if Rei was actually written well. I say kinda like Rei because they do bear a passing resemblance, but they are vastly different characters in almost every way. In the very first panel with her, we find out where her allegiances lie and how strong she is. Almost immediately afterward, we find out why she feels that way, and then we find out her personality. Oda gave us everything we ever needed to know about her in less time than Disney spent telling us that Rei was lonely. Much like Luffy, we don't need a major flashback for Yamato. We know everything that we need to know about Yamato from these panels. So, Kaido is a garbage character that was brought to another level by the pure hype that surrounded him, while Yamato is a good character already because of the quality of her writing. However, we could not have got Yamato or Odin without getting Kaido first. Kaido is there to make sure that we could digest the characters, and that is what makes Kaido good. You know guys, this video did not start out as a Yamato video, but was fully intended to vent my frustration of the fandom that is still blind to the hype behind Kaido, and to some extent, I do think that the fandom is realizing this. Kaido is not what we all assumed he would be. Kaido is a bland, lifeless, unoriginal character, and that's okay. That is what he was intended to be. His purpose was a meta purpose. It was designed to make the fans ready to take on characters like Yamato and Odin, and he excelled at that. That is why Kaido is a good character. This is probably the most important thing that I'll say in this video. While it is the case most of the time, just because a character is bad does not mean they are written poorly. Kaido is a fantastic example of a bad character written incredibly well. But that said guys, as always, thanks for watching, see you next time, remember to stay spectacular, JoJo